We are going to talk about Jarrod Bowen, but let's just deal with the elephant in the room, or the alpaca on my shoulders first, shall we? A lot of comments about the coat in yesterday's video, got to say. Been called a lot of things. Del Boy, John Motson, Huggy Bear, a sheep. I mean, there's been a lot of comments on there about the coat. So somebody was very triggered about the, in fact, double triggered to stay on the Only Fools and Horses thing. I was unhappy when I was unhappy with the coat and the comments post video. So anyway, I'm resurrecting it today because there were so many comments. Quite enjoyed reading them. How many more you got? I do like it. Right, let's deal with Jarrod Bowen. I think that David Moyes is going to have to look for another solution. Now, the fact that he has decided to say rest, drop, whatever you want, Michail Antonio from the Olympiacos game and the Nottingham Forest game suggests that he's far from convinced with that as an option. But I think in both of those games, the opposition have sat back. And when the opposition sit back, I just think Bowen's ineffective. Now, that's not to say I don't think he will go on to be effective and he can't play centrally. Far from it. I think he can play centrally and I think he will do. And I was just talking about this when we just did our Patreon player ratings video. I don't know what Burnley are going to play like against us. Certainly, I've not really seen them this season, truth be known. Last season, they were playing a very, very expansive game, weren't they? And I think if we do that and the opposition come at us and we play on the counter-attack, we can be really, really dangerous. So look how we finished that game against Nottingham Forest. They started to come at us towards the end, left space. We actually got a little break at the end, didn't we? 3-on-2 break. And I think in that instance, I think Bowen can play really, really well as a first-choice striker, as a central striker, should I say. But when it's when they're just sat back, defending deep, parking the bus, or as you youngsters might say, a low block, I think you're just gonna. I think he just gets bullied. He gets out muscled. Jarrod Bowen's no threat really to a burly, muscly central defender. Now I do understand he was going to go on later to disprove that, but that was from a set piece. He jumped up really high, very, very impressive goal. And don't get me wrong, I love Jarrod Bowen, but in both of those games, both against Olympiacos and then against Forest, I was wanting him to be moved back onto the wing. And actually, when he did on both occasions, he was so much better. I mean, his goal-scoring record at the moment is unbelievable. And he's just one of those players you think, if he's on the pitch, we are highly likely to score. And it's not that no opportunities are going to present themselves, but it's really hard not to look at it and not to think, well, actually, we still haven't really solved, again, I was going to call it the Scamacca problem. It's not. It's the Sebastian Haller problem. It's still really not been solved. And I do wonder if the club are going to sort of rue the fact that they gave Michail Antonio another big contract, really. I don't watch his podcast. I listen to his podcast with Callum Wilson, but as I understand it, there was a point during that podcast where he was arguing with Callum Wilson over who's going to score the most goals this season. And I just think, do you know what, mate? I probably wouldn't even enter that sort of conversation with someone like Callum Wilson, who's always going to be more prolific than Michail Antonio. But I don't know, look, it's just a bit of banter between mates, and I absolutely get it. But I just think he's probably best steering clear of it. Because even at the best of times, Michail Antonio isn't prolific. But I also don't think it's the answer up front for West Ham. That being said, during that game against Nottingham Forest, there was a point where I wanted him to be introduced and come off the substitutes bench. As I mentioned in the review, where I was also sporting this fine coat yesterday, I actually at the time wanted Thomas Souček to come off and Antonio to come on, and I think I was probably shouting, "Moyes, what do you think you're doing?" At that point, as I said in yesterday's video, I got it wrong. Moyes got it right. He kept Thomas Souček on, and he scored the winning goal. But definitely, when a team are sitting back, we lack a physical presence to be able to play balls in, and it's a shame what happened with Gianluca Scamacca. It really, really is. But I do think that Tim Steidten's going to be looking heavily at the transfer window. We have to bring in a forward. Look, Steidten's going to absolutely know that what we've got to do at the moment is get European football again for next season. We've got too many good players that are not going to want to play just a sort of standard Premier League campaign. And I think our chances of getting into Europe again next season are going to be heavily boosted by us getting a striker. I'm sure there's a list of them. I'm sure we're in for one, if not two. When I say two, I think if Danny Ings goes, which I do expect him to, I wouldn't be surprised if we get one on loan and buy a striker as well. There's definitely money there. Just look at the sums. They don't quite add up in terms of selling Scamacca, in terms of selling Vlasic, in terms of selling Declan Rice. There would have been a bit of money there to spend anyway. We've had Kieran Maguire over on Hammer's chat as well, and he said West Ham are cash rich. There's definitely money there. Whichever way you look at it, there's money there to sign a striker. I mean, what is clear is David Moyes is not going to get to choose this forward, and I don't mind that at all. I really don't mind that. Because I look at Steidten's signings, and they seem to be pretty good. That being said, David Moyes could obviously come back. Look at James Ward-Prowse's output in terms of his assists. They're absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. I talked about Jarrod Bowen's output in terms of his goals. Well, Jarrod Bowen and James Ward-Prowse are both signed by David Moyes. So maybe David Moyes will think differently. Maybe he'll say, well, actually, if you give me an opportunity to sign a striker, I might bring someone decent in. I don't know. I don't know. I would rather because David Moyes, I think he takes so much time getting a deal done. I think he'd just be better off telling Tim Steidten the type of striker that he requires and then letting Tim Steidten go out and get that forward. I really do think so. Oh, listen, before I go, I forgot yesterday, by the way, because I was at the game. I was walking down. I was concentrating on the game, concentrating on my coat, of course. And to be fair, why would I think about it? Gio said, make sure you promote the Christmas jumper. I was all snuggly and warm because of me alpaca coat, obviously. And no alpacas died, by the way, in the creation of this coat. I've had this coat for over half of my life. Someone said, look, that coat looks like it's come from the 70s. You're probably not wrong. It was second-hand when I bought it. It probably is a 70s coat. I wouldn't be surprised about that at all. I've got another one, which I've had, which was the old man's coat, by the way. Another one which is very similar. I'll share that with you next time. I wasn't thinking about Christmas jumpers, but if you want to get your Christmas jumper, Gio's extended the deal up until 9 o'clock tonight. The link is in the description below, hammerschatstore.com. Why are we promoting it now? Because we've got to get them made, basically. There's no chance, if we start promoting these things on the 15th of December, there's no chance to get them manufactured, get them shipped, and get them done. You get a £5 off if you order now. They're going to be 35 quid normally. Order it now. It's going to be 30 quid. If you're a Hammers Chat patron, by the way, you are going to get... if you're an addict, you get another 30% off. You get one of these for 21 quid. Not one of these, you understand, but one of the Christmas jumpers. hammerschatstore.com, link is in the description below. So, look, I'm not throwing the baby out the bathwater with Jarrod Bowen. I'm really not. I think there is a partnership to be made with him and Mohamed Kudus. I really do. But I don't think this is necessarily getting the best out of him. And for that reason, I just think David Moyes really needs to probably sort this out. It's a little bit of a shame that we've not seen Maxwell Cornet featured there, really. Just tried. There was a point last season, it was in Europe, Cornet was played up front with Scamacca and it looked good. It was a glimpse. It was just a fleeting sort of glimpse of what could possibly happen. But you know what? I think I was sort of hoping that when he was introduced against Olympiacos as substitute, thought, well, maybe this is a start for Cornet. Maybe this is David Moyes going to give him a chance. I'm not so sure now. I'm really not. I think there's going to be interest in him from a lot of the clubs in France. He's too good a player not to be playing. I'm not saying it would even necessarily work out at West Ham. I'm not saying he's a world beater, but he is a player with good pedigree. And sometimes when we're really struggling to open the opposition up, you think, just give him a go. Give the lad a go. I don't know. Look, at the end of the day, David Moyes is fighting for his life. David Moyes has got to do what he feels necessary to try and keep his job. And he's doing it. Wins against Olympiacos, wins against Nottingham Forest. I think they've just killed the conversation stone dead. And when I say the conversation, obviously, people will still talk about it. And clearly the board have already indicated that David Moyes is not going to be around for next season. He won't be offered a new deal. But in terms of, I think, the board leaking that his job is in imminent danger, I think that's gone. I don't think it is. West Ham are respectably mid-table, still in the Conference League. Actually, we're not in the Conference League, not yet anyway, in the Europa League, and still in the Carabao Cup. Tough game, albeit, against Liverpool at Anfield. But David Moyes can put all that stuff to bed now. But look, we did look tired against Olympiacos. Let me just say that. Against Nottingham Forest because of Olympiacos. The rest will probably do us a little bit of good. But what David Moyes, just getting back to the main thing, if Michail Antonio is going to go on international duty again, he never comes back fit. He never comes back ready. So David Moyes is going to have to start thinking about something else. And dare I say it, the Vine Obama might well be worth a chance as striker.